listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a successful motivational speaker and trusted life... You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a successful motivational speaker and trusted life coach, Nancy knows how you can live the life you want regardless of the challenges you face. Although she's legally blind, Nancy's mission is to inspire others to overcome obstacles and live life full out. Call in at 800-333-0001 to ask Nancy for advice on topics such as relationships, finances, business, health, and more. Just call 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about bravery. When in our life we need to step up, be a leader, getting ourselves out of moments of tragedy, crisis, or just moments where we feel like we're just not living our dream, our purpose. How do we get ourselves out of that point? It takes bravery, it takes courage to get yourself to where you want to be. And what happens when life gives us tragedy? Like these situations that are unthinkable. How do we get out of those moments? Again, we have the ability to channel the energy, the optimism, the courageous spirit within ourselves to get us into a more brave mode, to get to a place where we are living on purpose and living full out. So we're going to be talking about that today. Also, we want to hear from you. If you have any questions where you're asking yourself, I know I need to be more brave in my life, I don't know how to do it, call us. The number's 800-333-0001, 800-333-0001. Also, we want to give you resources. So if you need support, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Again, that's connect@livingfullout.com, so that we can help you to live full out in life and be brave and be fearless. We want that for you and for everybody in your life. Also, if you have an inspirational story, if you've overcome a tragedy in your life, if you've survived, if you've learned lessons over time, and you've cracked the code, we'd love for you to share your story. But we need to hear that story. So reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go ahead and say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for joining us. How can we help you today?
So I had a couple of questions around the subject that I wanted to kind of like lead my life with, kind of.
Okay, so share with me more, but what do you mean?
So I've been recently, I think, with like college and just growing up and stuff, I've been a little worried about how to motivate myself to go further and like pursue anything that I really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've realized that I think I'm very externally motivated, which means that I look for kind of tangible incentives or goals or achievements to kind of like push through things and get things done, rather than having to kind of like motivate myself internally and force myself to do the things, rather than trying to do the things that I want to do. If that kind of makes sense.
It does make sense, but you know what I'm thinking? I'd really like you to take on an exercise for 1 week, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And for 1 week, I'd like you to journal. And the reason why I want you to journal is because you have so many great ideas in your mind, right? You have a vision for how you want your life to be. But I also get the sense that there's a part of you that might want to look the part, look good, right? Get the accolades, and you might also be trying to please other people or just meet other people's expectations.
Yeah.
And the thing about journaling is that's when you can be alone with your thoughts, the good and the bad, okay? So when you want to journal about anything, you just want to kind of get it all out. So it might be if you're having a frustrating day and something's not going the way that you would want, journal about that. How do you feel? What happened? What did you try? And what was the outcome? What do you wish you had done differently? Just get it all out of your system. And then also, when you wake up in the morning or at night, whichever one you have the most time, I want you to journal. It doesn't have to be both, just morning or night. That's the time I want you to plan. And I want you to get a little selfish with your time, and I want you to dream big in that moment. And write down write down what you want in your life. What we want to do is we want to get you out of your mind and more into your heart. You want to lead with your heart. And I promise you this, if you lead with your heart, the money will follow, the good relationships will follow, the friends will come, the career will be there. But there's so many thoughts going on in your mind that I want to translate those down to your heart. And then when you write, it's going to come out from your heart. Now, if you're not much of a writer, you can also speak it, maybe record it into a feature on your phone or another recording device. Either way. But that is the exercise I want to give you. And then I encourage you to call in, let us know how it went. I'd love to coach you further. But it's important that you just flush it out. Because right now, what I hear when you call in is that there's so much going on that you want to say. And I think that would be a tool for you to get those words out. And then go back a week later, a month later, even a year later, and experience what you wrote. I think you'll really like journaling. I think it'll help you a lot. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah.
Good.
I might try that because I personally haven't journaled in a really, really long time.
Well, first step is to admit it right there.
Exactly.
Haven't journaled, right? So here's what I want you to do. Yeah.
I think the most I've done is, I think, in elementary school when it was a forced writing assignment from my teacher, and I think that's about it. Yeah.
Well, I think you're way overdue. But do this.
Yeah.
Take on that exercise, and I promise you, the discovery and the learning about yourself is going to be just really eye-opening for you. I believe that. So thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I'll take that advice and I'll try it every day.
You'll do great. I believe in you. You'll do great. But thank you for calling in, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye. So I love that he's brave. He's willing to take on that task I gave him to journal, and everybody has the ability to do that. That's how you channel what do you really want in your life. That's how you become brave and courageous to go get it. So now we're going to go back to the lines. We have another caller on the phone. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you.
Melody,
How can we help you today?
From Glenburnie, Maryland.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
I'm good. Just a question as to not quite feeling appreciated with or appreciated by your employer. Just wondering if anyone ever feels like they give their all. For instance, I've been with a company for 7 years and have done very well. However, just got the feeling that I'm not appreciated much anymore and feel abused as far as in my dedication.
Well, here's the first thing I would say about that. Always remember that you have choices. Okay? On one hand, you have a choice to stay or a choice to leave. Now, you might not want to leave, right? You built your career at this company.
Correct.
So I'm not saying you have to leave, but just allow yourself to bask in the freedom of choice. Because I think sometimes when we feel like we have to settle, we have to stay, you're kind of locking yourself into one experience when if maybe there's a different job, a different position that gives you more of that integrity, more of that accolades, more of that praise that you want. Because you are awesome. Just calling in today shows so much to me that you're brave, that you're fearless, that you want to give your all, but you just want respect back. Now, here's the other thing I want to tell you. The other thing is always remember the value of your worth. I say remember because I know you're a woman who does know your worth, but always remember it. So when you go to work, don't let others make you feel small. Don't let them make you feel as though you're not getting that praise. Sometimes we got to give our own praise. Sometimes you have to say out loud, I can't believe I did such a good job. And others will say, yeah, you did a great job. Sometimes we actually have to spur the conversation ourselves. And don't be afraid to put together a meeting with your manager, with your boss, and not in a way that is going to put them down, make them feel bad, put you down, or anything like that, but just really bring to the attention to them that, hey, I love being here. I got great ideas. Let's have a conversation. Keep it positive, keep it light. And that will also spur more energy, more excitement. Just don't lock yourself in, okay? But I think if you do that, you'll see great things happen. But I want to thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the suggestion.
You got it. Have a wonderful day. And everybody, when we come back, we're going to be joined by our inspirational guest. You don't want to miss Best Story. It's tender, it's sweet, and inspiring. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm gonna return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
It's not what I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit
ignition. And then
nothing. Ha 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 ha. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. A professional motivational speaker, Nancy can help you overcome obstacles and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about bravery, how we can be more courageous in our life, and really how to get through those hard moments when we don't know. We're at a crossroad and we're stressed and we're frustrated and we're sad, and how do you be brave during one of those times? Well, our inspirational guest today, Beth Fachman, is no stranger to being brave. She had to be when at 8 months she actually lost her little boy when her liver ruptured. And her story is full of tender moments, but also it tells us all to just keep going and to just let the life lessons come at us and evolve and be the best we can be. And you'll understand why I say that as she shares her story. So, Beth, hi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you for joining us. So, I want to take our audience back to, here you were, pregnant. For the most part, your pregnancy was good and your little boy was kicking inside you and everything felt right. When did things start to feel wrong?
It happened very quickly. He was so active all day Friday, and the next thing I know, I started feeling really sick, and my heart was beating very fast. And within a couple hours, I felt run down. I felt like I was getting the flu, and then in a couple hours, my heart started beating faster, like it was going to pop through my chest, and I just felt really sick, and I was dizzy and nauseous and sweating. And again, I just thought I had the flu, but obviously something was really wrong.
Well, and this was your first baby, so you might have even chalked it up to being part of the pregnancy symptoms.
Yeah, I didn't even, looking back, it was definitely hindsight. You can see things. I was really tired and exhausted, but I hadn't been pregnant before, so I just thought, I'm working full time, my first baby. I really did think it was just pregnancy.
And at what point did you and your husband decide that you needed to go to the hospital? It was serious.
My husband found me on the bathroom floor. I had gone to the bathroom and passed out a couple times. I was very confused, and I wasn't sure what was going on. And our dog sat on him and woke him up, and then he noticed I was missing from the bed, and he went to go check on me, and that's where he found me laying on the floor, so we knew this wasn't just the flu.
This was more. And when you were being taken to the hospital, it's interesting because you had a pain in your shoulder. You had no idea what that meant.
Right.
What did you learn?
I learned that right shoulder pain can be a sign that you have a liver problem.
And you just thought it was just a right shoulder pain. Now, when you got to the hospital, how did things unfold then? How was your baby? How was your health? Were you able to stabilize you?
I remember laughing. It seemed like it took forever to get to the hospital, and my husband almost beat the ambulance. And so I remember him coming into the room, and, it was only about 4 o'clock in the morning, so they had, soft lights on, and we were laughing about him, finding it. And, a NICU nurse actually helped him find it, and they came in, and my husband asked me, he said, do you want me to call your parents? And I said, well, let's just, make sure everything's okay first. And they hooked me up to a machine, and then they brought in another one, and it was taking forever. So I knew something was clearly wrong at that point because he was a very active boy, and they could find his heartbeat very quickly, almost every doctor appointment. And so we found out that he had passed, and that really was the worst point in my life ever. There's nothing that can compare to that moment that your dream just shatters right in front of you.
Well, and Beth, and I really appreciate you saying that, because for other mothers and fathers who have lost babies so late in a pregnancy like that, I mean, how do you even digest that moment? I mean, you were so close to the finish line.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's different. I have a wonderful support system. My husband was amazing. He never left my side. It's an awful thing that I wish no one had to go through and knew what that feeling was. It's, you just kind of, it's almost surreal, like an out-of-body experience that you just don't think it's really happening. And because it was early and I was still confused, at this point I was bleeding internally. We just didn't know it yet because of the tumor rupturing. But, you just are in a state of denial, like I'm going to wake up from this nightmare. I'm going to wake up from this nightmare. And you find out that it's really life and it's happening.
Well, and while your son had passed away, you could have passed as well. What is this common that livers rupture in such a way?
No, it's usually very rare. I'm considered a medical miracle, 1 in a million. It does happen, but a lot of times they find it in autopsies because the person is bleeding, and by the time they figure out what happened, you bleed out and die. So, unfortunately, it happened the way it was supposed to. If I would have gone to the hospital and Logan was still alive, he would have been in distress, and so they would have done a C-section, and I would have bled right away, and I would have died, and who knows what damage would have happened to him or if he would have even survived.
Hearing you say those words actually gives me kind of shivers because truly we have to trust life. We have to. The good and the bad, and some things just don't make sense. And I'm sure you've tried to make sense of this ever since that day.
I've gone through every scenario in my head. If we would have done this, if maybe we should have gone sooner, maybe we should have done this. And even though, I think any mother would sacrifice, and I would have sacrificed myself for him, there was no guarantee that he wouldn't have been, he would have been born undamaged from me because of my body was just in shutdown mode. And he could have had all kinds of, physical disabilities. At that point, he was super healthy. Everything was checking out fine. During my pregnancy was fine, more than fine. But you never know what something like that does to a baby.
And put the baby aside, we never know when that would happen to any of us. All the more reason for everybody to get checked out annually, if you can. Right. Could that have been detected?
No. The only way, they told me there were no symptoms until it ruptures. And if they did an MRI, they could have seen it.
Maybe, huh?
Yeah, well, but you wouldn't have done that when you're 8 months pregnant.
For sure, exactly. Well, Beth, stay with us because we do have to go to a commercial break, but there's a lot more to her story as it unfolds here. So stay with us. We're talking to Beth Falkman. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and we'll be right back after this break.
Listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a trusted life coach, Nancy will help you overcome setbacks and embrace all life has to offer. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we are talking about bravery. How do we take some of the hardest times in our life and even find our way to crawl through the pain and get to the light, to get to a place where we feel hopeful again, where we feel like we can attain those goals and dreams despite all the curveballs, all the limitations, all the financial stress and relationship crises, you name it. How do we get to the other side? Our inspirational guest today, Beth Bachman, is a perfect example of truly what it means to live out. I mean, she's so special in the way that she took a hard moment when her liver ruptured and she did lose her baby at 8 months, but yet she didn't just stop there. Her desires and goals to be a mom kept her going. So I'd like to welcome Beth back to the show.
Thanks.
Hi, thank you. So in our last segment here, we talked about getting to the hospital and obviously you lost your son, but they did everything they could to save you, and they did. But when you go home after all of that, and it's you and your husband, and you're supposed to bring him home with you, how do you even find the energy to wake up in the morning?
It was really hard in the beginning. I actually gave birth to him on the day that was supposed to be my baby shower. And so, we had everything around the house. We had plans to, finish shopping what we didn't get at the baby shower we were anticipating. And my husband, God love him, he went home and he gathered everything up. We just had the car seat installed that week earlier, and so he took everything out. He put it in Logan's room, and he closed the door because it was really hard for him to look at all that stuff as well. And everything you thought you'd have a lifetime together with your child, and so it was very hard on him. The only thing I would tell people is make sure you communicate to each other, because there were days where I had to pull him up and days he had to pull me up a lot. And, there were days where, both of us were really sad and crying and upset. And so it was normal, but you have to talk to each other and, forgive each other, because everyone grieves differently too. But it was a very quiet, sad house, and we are not that kind of couple. We're a very humorous, laughing, teasing kind of couple. So it was very somber for a long time.
And when you finally started to, see more clearly and come out of the fog of that mood, when did you finally decide that you wanted to try again?
Well, everything that I do is I want Logan to be proud of me, and I'm his mom, and I have to carry his legacy on with me. And so I had always dreamed of being a mom, and for him making that sacrifice and giving me back my health and giving me these years that I shouldn't have had. The doctors told me that I was a ticking time bomb, and it would have been at any time. So if it weren't for Logan and I had another pregnancy, I wouldn't have survived that either. So, it was just a matter of time till this was going to rupture or even turn into cancer. And then I would need a liver transplant or who knows what else. So it wasn't just, this might happen. It was a certainty that this was going to happen at any time.
Mm-hmm. And down the line, at one point, you and your husband were blessed with good news that you were pregnant again. How long after that, after Logan's loss?
It was, I wasn't allowed to get pregnant for 6 months because I had, 60% of my liver removed 3 weeks after Logan was born. And then I had to heal from that physically. Emotionally, it took a whole lot longer, and I'm still working on it. I consider myself a work in progress. But, we tried the next summer. I was a little bit older. I didn't want to wait, being so close and being, I can still feel him in my arms to this day, to be that close. And so we wanted children. We wanted to have, to share our love with a child. And so I got pregnant again, and unfortunately I had a miscarriage. And so then we weren't sure we were going to try again. I didn't think I could survive another loss.
And that loss, actually, for everybody listening, that was a big loss. You were about 12 weeks in.
Right. We went in to hear the heartbeat and to hear those words, "I'm so sorry, there's no heartbeat," twice in your life is way too many. And I know there are people who have had more losses than that, but it is devastating. And I had felt so broken, and my body had failed me on so many times, and that was the darkest moment. And I didn't think I could really live. I wasn't suicidal. I wasn't going to harm myself. I was just so down, and there's no words to explain that.
Did you start to question, am I meant to be a mom? Should I even try?
Yes, because everyone around me was having babies and having their families, and that's not why I wanted children. I wanted children because I wanted them, but it was hard watching everyone have their dream, and we couldn't at that point.
Yeah. Now, you decided to try again, but what is the leap, the emotional leap that you had to make from being in that dark place? Because we're talking about bravery today, and you are so courageous.
Oh, thank you. I don't feel it, but thank you.
Oh, you are. Oh, you are, because it would be so easy to check out emotionally, physically. You know, marriages break up because of this, and you guys stay together. So yes, you are for sure, and I want you to know that. But how did you make that leap? Because somebody listening today who is deflated, who can't get pregnant, who keeps losing babies, who just maybe loses other things in their life, money, jobs, you name it. What got you from that dark place to being hopeful?
Well, you have to take, and I hate saying this because I hate it when people are like, well, time will help. Time does help. And it did help in this case, but it was just a matter of, I knew if I didn't try, because I was in my late 30s now, I knew if I hadn't tried, I would regret it. And again, it goes back to everything I do, I want to honor Logan. And I didn't want to disappoint him. I didn't want to have a half-life and just cruise through life and okay, well, that's it. So, you know, we were determined to try one last time to see if we could have children. And we got lucky, and we had a little girl about a year later after the miscarriage.
And what is that moment like? I mean, you had given birth to Logan, but he had passed. You had a pregnancy that turned into a miscarriage. For all the reasons you could have been pessimistic, something else is going to happen, waiting for the next shoe to drop. But when you had that moment where you were holding your baby girl, I mean, was that validation for everything, or what was that moment like for you?
It was the most amazing, I'm going to cry. It was the most amazing moment. Just holding her, hearing her cry. When you give birth to a stillborn or a baby who doesn't, you know, maybe they are unable to make a noise, that's all a parent wants to hear is them cry. You want to hear their voice welcoming them into the world. And so hearing her cry, it just was the greatest sound I have ever heard. And, you know, you worked so hard. I had doctors and nurses. Everyone was on our side. Everyone was praying for us. I had a student whose mom went to Rome. She lit a candle for us. So, I mean, we had all this support. And I think that's really what got us through. Because it was, you know, we had a scare where the one day I didn't feel her and I was crying, and we had to go in, and my doctor cleared their schedule, and they immediately put me on a machine, and her heart was there. And as soon as her heart was beating, my blood pressure, you know, went back to normal again. And so, I mean, we did have a couple scares, and I was trying to be as positive as I could. You know, everyone kept saying, you're healthy now. You're healthy now. You were sick before. And you still carried a baby to 8.5 months, but you're healthy now. And so I tried to stay on the positive side. It was so easy to go to the negative, but I was determined to keep it on the positive side.
Well, and your journey wasn't done yet, because no. Then you gave birth to who?
We wanted her to have a living sibling, so we tried one last time. I was going to be 40 the following year, and I said, you know, let's try one more time. And my husband said, you know, we both wanted her to have a sibling, and we got two. We had twins this past February, so they're 8 months now.
Wow. I mean, congratulations on that. And why we talk about bravery and why I say, Beth, that you are so brave is you could have given up countless times. But that dream to be a mom, and you fulfilled that dream 3 times, 4 times, actually.
Yeah.
5 times if we count the miscarriage, right? Because that was still a pregnancy. So, I mean, like I said, you are so much of what it means to live full out. And I want to thank you for being on today's show and sharing your story, because everybody listening who wants to have children, don't give up. Don't give up, right?
Right. It can be a hard journey, but it's worth it.
It can happen. And so thank you, Beth, so much for being on the show today. And we'll be thinking of you and your family as you continue to evolve here. But thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Anytime I tell Logan's story, it's really a blessing for me.
And I feel that. I definitely get that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for everybody listening, you know, what I love about Beth's story so much is just the fact that there's going to be times that we're going to get stopped, that we're going to feel hopeless, that we're going to doubt, am I worth it? Will it ever turn out? But it will. You just have to find supporters in your life and hold that dream near and dear to your heart. And don't give up. Turn over every stone, every leaf, and check off every possible resource. And then if it doesn't happen, well then, you know what? I'm sure another door will open. But you have to continue to believe. That's a huge part of what it means to live full out. So when we come back, we'll be taking your calls. And again, this is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.
Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're going to jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We are your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say. We want you to take.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
When you're feeling like you need to be brave to get through a hard moment, always remember that the courageous self within you has that ability. You have the choice to use words that will be positive to guide you to where you want to go. You have the ability to turn to supporters in your life to cheer you on. But most of all, trust yourself. Know that what you want in your life is worth going for. It's all about living your life full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a certified life coach, Nancy can help you to overcome challenges and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello, thank you for joining us again. This is Nancy Solari and the Living Full Out Show. And I hope over the course of this show you have been inspired. That is always our goal. But most of all, rather than concentrating on where you want to be brave in your life, I want you to always remember that you are that person, and just take today to be excited about what you have achieved in your life. I think sometimes we forget to take assessment of what we have achieved. You know, we're so focused on tomorrow and what's not working and what we haven't got. And I want you to focus on what you do have. Perhaps you have a really great family. Perhaps you have friends or a job you enjoy, or it could be a hobby, playing guitar or piano, and that brings you peace. Or it could just be waking up every day knowing that you're a good person. Maybe everything doesn't turn out right, but you know what? Being a good person is still something that we all strive for, and not everybody can say that. So I want you to take this moment to be proud of yourself and all that you've attained and achieved. And that is bravery, to look in the mirror and be able to give ourselves bad news and good news instead of just the bad news all the time. And most of all, when you consider where you want to be brave in your life, again, trust yourself. I promise you, it's so easy to just explain away all the reasons why something doesn't work. But when you believe in yourself and you keep that drive near and dear to your heart, and you just keep pressing forward, people admire that. I admire that. And that's who you are. So we're going to go to the phone lines now and talk to one of our callers. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for joining us. Hi, good. How can we help you today?
Hi, I just wanted to call and ask what I can do. I have trouble making big life decisions for myself, and I wanted to know what are some things that I could do to deal with this problem.
Oh, I hear you. But you made a good decision calling in, but I do hear you. So the big life decisions. In the past, what is your normal routine of how you make a decision? Do you talk to other people? Do you go with your gut instinct? What do you normally do?
Talk to other people for sure.
Okay. Now, do you do what other people think carry a lot of weight in your life?
At times, I feel like it's best to listen to others' opinions, but in the end, you just need to do what your gut feeling is telling you.
And I'm so excited that you said that. So when it comes to these big life decisions, do you question yourself?
Yes.
And why is that?
Maybe out of fear that I might be taking the wrong decision.
And have you ever made a wrong decision before?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And we all have. Me too, right? I'm raising my hand. I'm right there with you. And when you've made that wrong decision, although it didn't turn out exactly the way that you wanted, did you still land on your feet? Did you still find a way to laugh the next day?
Yeah.
Right? So what I want you to look at is sometimes we give too much power to, quote, quote, making the right decision. Because really there isn't a right decision. When you're born into this world and you get to play the game of life, it's meant to be experienced. It's not meant to get right every time. So I want you to take the weight of those burdens off your shoulder, that you need to get it right all the time, and say, you know what? I forgive myself. If I do something silly, if I make a mistake and whatever, it's going to be okay.
Wow.
You know, the other day...
That's really helpful.
No, and it's true. It's true. I mean, the other day I was at an event and I had really bad pockets. I put $80 in the pockets and I lost it. Now, was that a bummer to lose $80? Absolutely. But what I said to myself, I said, darn it, I just hope that someone picked up the $80 who really needed it. But maybe
great.
But maybe that's where that $80 was meant to go. Maybe I was never meant to have it. Maybe the other person was meant to receive it. So these wrong, quote, quote, wrong decisions that you think you're making, maybe they're not wrong. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be.
That's so true. I never thought of it like that.
Right? So I want you to just go through the day today, making confident decisions, not if they're right or they're wrong, but what your heart tells you. Lead with your heart in life and you will never go wrong, because it's just the way it's meant to be. Okay? But I want to thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for your advice.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And I want to thank everybody who listened to today's show and our entire Living Full Out family here. We're so dedicated to just bringing you as most motivation as we can. We have Roger and Rich and Kenny and Amber and Chris and Sam and Riley, and oh my gosh, the names go on of all the people here who want you to smile every day and want you to live full out each and every day. I want you to connect with us on social media. We got Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Again, we're all about motivation. But most of all, I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to be brave, courageous, fearless. You pick the word, but you can do it. Here's to you living full out, and we will see you next week.